Hi, and welcome to part 2 of our series on creating a remix in Logic Pro 10. Now, on screen is my completed project. Let's listen to this and then we can discuss it. My hope is that you might pick up some more ideas that you could use in your own project. Okay, here we go.
Slept in a while. When I opened my eyes, you were here again with that killer smile. You never miss a line, except one thing. It could be locked up in your head. It could be on every last breath. It could be tied up on your tongue, but you won't say love. It could be locked up in your head. It could be on every last breath. It could be tied up on your tongue, but you won't say love. Why won't you? Why won't you? Why won't you say love? Why won't you? Why won't you? Why won't you say love? Why won't you? Why won't you? Why won't you say love? Why won't you? Why won't you? It could be locked up in your head. It could be on every last breath. It could be tied up on your tongue, but you won't say love. Why won't you? Why won't you? Why won't you say love? Why won't you? Why won't you? Why won't you say love? So I watch you go.
Okay, so that's the song. What do you think? The idea was to use some standard techniques to create this remix. The first of which was a drop. As we mentioned in part 1 of our tutorial, the bridge is where the drop happens. So if you look at our bridge, you'll see that quite a few parts drop out. Now I've doubled the bridge, and that's something we'll get onto in a second. Then our next technique was to add a build-up. If you look from the left-hand side of my screen to the right-hand, you'll notice something. It's quite obvious. You'll notice that there are more parts at the end than at the start. Particularly, the build-up happened in the bridge. So you can see that the first time the bridge played, there were fewer instruments, and then it built towards the end of the bridge and to this final chorus section. Our next technique was to repeat or cut sections. I repeated the bridge, and I showed you how to use locators to copy a section. You'll also notice that my introduction is doubled. Our next standard technique was to use samples. So you could choose from Apple samples, or you could create your own instrumental lines, which is the next part of our standard techniques. You'll notice that I've played in quite a few parts. I played in a lead part. I played in another kind of accompanying part, and I played in some chords as well. Now, if you don't know how to create a lead line, in other words, a motif, you need to watch my tutorial on how to create a motif in Logic. I'll link it. Okay, and you'll notice also that I've used this motif in several different places within my song. I even start off the song with one of these motifs. Now, you would have heard two lines running there. The motif I'm referring to is the highest one that you just heard. But there are quite a few parts that I played in. The next technique that we had to use was to cut up samples, particularly the vocal line. Now, I cut up quite a bit of it within the bridge, and you'll notice it because I put it on a different track. I did that specifically so that I could then do all sorts of different mixing techniques with it. I also used a little bit of verse 2 right at the end to highlight a particular topic that I thought was important within the piece. Lastly, the idea was for us to mix this project into something that sounded really pleasing. Now, part of mixing is automation. You'll notice that I've used quite a bit of automation. I'll show you. Right, all these different lines doing all sorts of squeaky things are bits of automation. Now, again, if you don't know what automation is or how to do it, you need to watch my automation tutorial. Again, I will link it. Now, why did I show you all of this? It is for you to pick out some ideas that you might be able to use in your mix. Remember, you can also refer back to this video at a later time. Your turn. Go improve your remix.